too, but her eyes sparkled as she smiled at the tree. It gave off warmth and filled every corner of our home. I put a Star of David on top to soothe those whose Jewish feelings were disturbed by the display. And it warmed my heart to see the glitter, because now the party was at my house and everybody was invited. But something was wrong. Something big and round and jolly, with jingle bells and a ho, ho, ho. So I bought some bright red cloth and my wife made me a costume. Inflatable pillows filled out my skinny frame. A Santa mask, complete with whiskers and flowing white hair, made me look genuine enough to live up to a child's dream of old St. Nick. When I tried on the costume and looked in the mirror, there he was, big as life. The Santa of my childhood. I felt myself become Santa. I leaned back and pushed out my pillow's stomach. My voice got deeper and richer. Merry Christmas, everyone. Claire was almost 4, and Danny not yet 1 when Santa first came to our house. They stood in awe, and I saw in their eyes the fantasy and the fantasy and magic of what I had become. Santa was special. He was a personification of kindness and gentleness. He was a little scary, too. For 2 years, I played Santa for my children, to their fright and delight, and to my total enjoyment. And when the 3rd year rolled around, the Santa in me had grown into a personality all of his own, and he needed more room. So I sought to accommodate him by letting him do his thing for other children. One day in late November, I saw this pretty little girl trying to reach the mailbox slot and say, "Mommy, are you sure Santa will get my letter?" My mind began to whirl. All those children who write Santa Claus, whatever becomes of their letters? A phone call to the postal office answered my question. The dead letter office stored the thousands of letters in huge sacks. The Santa within me went ho, 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 and we headed for the post office. As I began rummaging through the letters, I became a little flustered at the demands and greed of so many spoiled children. Most of the letters were give me, give me, give me letters. Well, the Santa within me heard a voice from inside the mail sack, and I continued searching till I came upon one letter that jarred me. "Dear Santa, I'm an 11-year-old girl and have 2 little brothers and a baby sister. My father died last year and my mother is sick. I know there are many who are poorer than we are, and I want nothing for myself. But could you send us a blanket? Because Mommy's cold at night." It was signed, Susie. A chill went up my spine, and the Santa in me cried, "I hear you, Susie." I dug deeper into those sacks and came up with another 8 such letters, all calling out from the depths of poverty. I took them with me and went straight to the Western Union office and sent each child a telegram. "Got your letter. Will be at your house. Wait for me, Santa." I knew I could not possibly fill all the needs of these children, but if I could bring them hope, if I could make them feel that their cries did not go unheard. I budgeted $150 and went out and bought presents. On Christmas Day, my wife drove me around. It had snowed graciously the night before, and the streets were thick with fresh powder. My first call took me to the outskirts of the city. The letter from Peter Barsky had read, "Dear Santa, I am 10 years old, and I'm an only child. We've just moved to this house, and I have no friends yet. I'm not sad because I'm poor, but because I'm lonely. I know you have many people to see, and you probably have no time for me, so I don't ask you to come to my house or bring anything, but could you send me a letter so I know you exist? Dear Peter, my telegram began. Not only do I exist, but I'll be there on Christmas Day. Wait for me. Peter's house was wedged between two tall buildings. Its roof was of corrugated metal, and it was more of a shack than a house. With a bag of toys slung over my shoulder, I walked up the steps and knocked. A heavy-set man opened the door. "Bonjour, mon," he said in astonishment. That's Polish for "my God." And his hand went to his face. "Please," he stuttered, the boy at Mass, I go get him. Please wait." He threw on a coat and, assured that I would wait, ran down the street. I stood there in front of the house, feeling good. Then across the street I noticed another shack. Through the window I could see little black faces peering at me and tiny hands waving. The door opened slightly and some voices called out, "Hiya, Santa." I ho-hoed myself over there, and a woman asked if I'd come in, and I did. Inside were 5 kids from 1 to 7 years old. I spoke to them of Santa and the spirit of love, which is the spirit of Christmas. Then, seeing the torn Christmas wrappings, I asked if they liked what Santa had brought them. Each thanked me for the woolen socks, the sweater, the warm underwear. "Didn't I bring you any toys?" They shook their heads sadly. "Ho, ho, ho! I must have slipped up," I said. "We'll have to fix that." Knowing we had extra toys in the car, I gave each child a toy. There was joy and laughter. But when Santa got ready to leave, I noticed one little girl crying. I bent down and asked her, "What's the matter?" "Oh, Santa," she sobbed, "I'm so happy." And the tears rolled from my eyes under the rubber mask. As I stepped out of the street, "Panya, Panya, cozy! Sir, please!" I heard Mr. Bosky across the way. Peter just stood there and looked at Santa as Santa walked into the house. "You came," he said. "I wrote, and you came." When he recovered, I spoke to him about loneliness and friendship and gave him a chemistry set and a basketball. He thanked me profusely, and his mother asked something of her husband in Polish. My parents were Polish, and I speak a little and understand a lot. "From the North Pole," I said in Polish. She looked at me in astonishment. "You speak Polish?" "Of course," I said. "Santa speaks all languages." And I left them in joy and wonder. The following year, when the momentum of Christmas began to build, I found a stirring in me and knew that Santa within me was back. I returned to the post office and to those heartbreaking letters. I enjoyed playing Santa so much that I did it the next year and the next. Then at age 10, Claire handed me a poem that began, "I know that Santa's make-believe, but I still love him so, 'cause he's my daddy, ho, ho, ho." So now she knew. I took her to the basement where the toys were and let her rummage through Santa's shop, ogling at the imposing array. She read the letters and cried with me and became a true Santa's helper, sorting and wrapping the toys in preparation for my rounds. I made the rounds for 12 years, listening to the cries of children muffled in unopened envelopes, answering the call of as many as I could, frustrated at not being able to answer them all. As time went by, word got out about Santa Claus and me, and manufacturers started sending me cartons of toys. Having started with 20 children, I'd wound up with 120. Door to door, from one end of New York City to the other, from Christmas Eve through Christmas Day. On my last call a few years ago, I knew there were 4 children in the family, and I came prepared. The house was small and sparsely furnished. The kids had been waiting all day, staring at the telegram and repeating to their skeptical mother, "He'll come, Mommy, he'll come." As I ring the bell, the door swings open, and they all reach in for my hands and hold on. Hiya, Santa, we just knew you'd come. And these poor kids are beaming with happiness and laughter. I take each of them on my lap and tell stories of joy, hope, and waiting, and give them each a toy. All the while is this fifth child standing in the corner, a cute girl with blonde hair and blue eyes. I turn to her and say, "You're not part of this family, are you?" She shakes her head sadly and whispers, "No." "What's your name?" I ask. "Lisa." "How old are you?" 7. "Come sit on my lap." She hesitates, but she comes over. Did you get any toys for Christmas?" I ask. "No," she said. I take out a big, beautiful doll. "You want this doll?" "No," she says. Then she leans over and whispers in my ear, "I'm Jewish." And I nudge her and whisper, "I'm Jewish too." Lisa grins from ear to ear. She takes the doll I hand her, hugs it, and runs out. I don't know which is the happier, she or the Santa within me. Merry Christmas, my friends.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. All right, guys, see you later.